Okay, let's do this. Okay. So, aloha, beautiful beings. I am so excited to connect with you all today. Okay, I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. I hope, as always, you find value and worth in this video. Okay, so I want to talk to you about Vastu. What is it? Why do we need it? Have you even ever heard of it? Right? Did you know that Feng Shui actually originates from Vastu and Vastu predates Feng Shui? I didn't know that until years ago I learned about it. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to talk to you a little bit about this 2-month group program that I have coming up. So it's something new that I'm doing. So for years now, what I've been doing is I have been manifesting, timeline shifting, and quantum leaping. I just didn't have the vocabulary for it. It wasn't until my second spiritual awakening during the pandemic that I discovered this whole world of spiritual entrepreneurship. I had no idea. I didn't know that you could have more than one spiritual awakening. I definitely knew that I had my first spiritual awakening in 2000, but that's when I first discovered, what a spiritual path is, what a spiritual awakening is, but I just didn't at the time have the vocabulary for it. It wasn't until my second spiritual awakening during the pandemic that I discovered that there's this whole world that I did not even know existed. I had always been, well, ever since a little child, I have always been spiritual. But and then I grew up in a house of entrepreneurs, and I have been an entrepreneur for years. But for me, for those of you who know my story, I kept those two paths pretty separate. So I had my spirituality and I had my entrepreneurship. I didn't know that you could do both at the same time. So that, or like you could, like the two could be combined, and it's so beautiful when they are. And you actually, when you start working with other spiritual entrepreneurs, and a lot of my clients are spiritual entrepreneurs, and it's just the best thing. It's like this huge sisterhood of women full of love. um, it's really cool. And to then have a team, like my own team of women that work behind the scenes in my business. It's very small. I just have a couple that help me, but the fact that they also are also spiritual and that they are spiritual entrepreneurs, it completely changes the landscape. It completely changes the ballgame. But I'm digressing. Okay. So what I'm super excited about, what I want to tell you about today is that, so for years, I have been manifesting, timeline shifting, and quantum leaping. So first of all, what is the difference? Let me define them for you. Okay, so what is manifesting? Manifestation is when you have a desire, a wish, a goal, and it's not material yet, right? It's up in your head. It's you are desiring it. You want it. You want it so bad. And a lot of the times maybe you feel like you can't have it. We all know what that is, right? So that's immaterial. But when that wish, desire, want of yours, that goal, that thing that you've been planning and wanting so badly, when it actually comes to fruition, when it materializes, when it goes from just a thought, this idea in your head, to now it's here, it's arrived, that's manifestation. Okay. That is manifestation. And the truth is, we are these powerful creatrixes. We, not just as women and as men. I mean, especially if you look at women, women are who I work with primarily. When you look at the design of a woman, our bodies are literally designed to create, right? We create life out of our bodies. We birth life. But growing a human, conceiving, growing a human, and bringing that human into the world, that is not the only type of creation that we are here to realize, right? To do. We are also here we're super powerful beings. We're here to birth programs, to birth businesses, to birth art, to birth amazing homes for our families, to birth beautiful meals for our families. So all of that to say is that whether you like it or not, you are creating, you are manifesting all of the time. Okay. And when a single thing, when a single thing that you have been desiring, wishing for manifests, when it materializes, that is considered a manifestation. Okay. Now, what is the difference between a manifestation and a timeline shift? The difference between a manifestation and a timeline shift is that when a whole bunch of things that you have been desiring, calling in, working on, wanting, when a whole bunch of things come in all at the same time, that is considered a timeline shift, right? So an example would be like a manifestation would be, I want more clients in my business, right? And when I do receive more clients, when more clients come into my business, that's considered a manifestation, right? Or let's say you've been desiring to move into a bigger home for your family or to move to a different zip code, right? When that materializes, that's considered a manifestation. Now imagine if instead what you have been doing is instead you have been desiring more clients and more money in the area of your business. You have been in your business, you have been feeling like you just really want to scale, expand, and just serve the collective at a much bigger capacity. And then in your financial life, you are just desiring a bank account where you are in a positive of multiple 5 or 6 or 7 figures every single month. And let's say in your family life, let's say that you're just really desiring um, for your husband and you, for your partner, for your girlfriend, for your wife, just to have a deeper connection with them, to feel like you are in a sensual divine union. And let's say with your children, you are desiring that they achieve the goals that they've been working on. So let's say, like in my case, I remember there was one year where our son was learning how to ride a bike, or he didn't quite know how. So that was kind of like our desire, our goal for him to be able to master riding his bike up and down the little street we lived on. Or for our oldest son to be able to play the piano really well, or for our middle son to make it to states for tennis in Hawaii, where we live now. So each one of those things, if that materializes, when and if that materializes, that is considered a manifestation, as I said. Now, imagine you've been desiring all these different things in all these different areas of your life, and imagine in the span of a day, in the span of a weekend, they all came in. They all just flooded in. And this is literally what has happened in my life over and over and over again. And when that happens, that's considered a timeline shift. Okay, that's the difference. Now, what is the difference between a timeline shift and a quantum leap? Okay. So timeline shifts tend to be a lot more linear, right? Where you can see yourself going from, it's like a gradual scaling where, okay, let me use the example of like a corporation, right? If you think about a person and like the natural progression of a promotion in a company, right? Like we like an example, like a concrete example would be something like, first I am a work study student. Maybe then I become the administrative assistant. Then maybe I get promoted to system analyst. And then from there, I would be promoted to manager, then to director, and then to VP, right? Or to CIO, something like that, or CEO, right? That would be, and moving from one to the next would be, would either be like a manifestation, a promotion, right? But in the form of a manifestation, or, it's a manifestation in the form of a promotion. Now, if that was happening to you in conjunction with other things you've been desiring, that would then be considered like a timeline shift. But if you went from, let's say, a system analyst to like a CIO or to a VP, that would be considered a quantum leap. So I hope you get, you get the idea that it's like when there's this like huge jump where you feel like you just skipped all the steps in between or many of the steps in between, that's considered a quantum leap. Okay, so just wanted to kind of make that distinction. Okay, so why am I talking about this? Like, why is this significant? Why is it important? Because this is literally how I live my life. And this is what I've been doing for the last 23, 24 years, since 2000, right? And, but it wasn't until last year, like, I don't know why I wasn't getting it before, but like I knew it, but really like last year, I feel like it really sunk in. And so what I've realized is that for me, a lot of magic happens around a group container. Okay. So what I've noticed ever since I started the Thrives business, and I saw this before in my life as well when I was teaching before, when I was volunteer teaching, is that when we sit in this space, when we create this space, it really is, it sounds so cheesy, but it really is this like super potent magical container. It's like this energetic vortex. It's really hard to explain. Like something happens. There's a it's like there is a difference between you reading this knowledge in a book versus you sitting in a container. And it's like that container, as I said, it's this like energetic vortex. And it's just like this perfect recipe. So us sitting together doing breath work, meditating, and me taking you through this process and us doing it together and being together for 2 months, it shifts things for you. Now, the reason I haven't done it before is because I didn't have the capacity to do it before. And it's not to, I didn't feel ready. I did not feel like I could hold space for a group of women for 2 months. Like I had to get there first. I go first so that you can follow, is really the formula, is really the recipe. So although I've taught shorter courses, I have never done like a 2 month container because I simply was not ready to hold space at that energetic frequency for 12 other women. Okay. Me being the 13th, right? So now I feel that I'm ready. And in prior years, while I was teaching the containers behind the scene, I was timeline shifting. I was preparing for the timeline shift and the quantum leap. And then I use the energy of the container, okay, to like propel me forward. Okay, if that makes sense. Now, so this year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 2 month container because really what I've realized is that sadhana, the practice, the breath work, it's just kind of a no-brainer. Like if you know me, I'm known as the breath work girl. And it took me a while to own that because I think for me, in some ways, it just feels boring because I've done it for so long. But literally, this is what we do in my house. I do it, my husband does it, and my boys, most recently, they do it. My older boys do it as well, right? It's we wake up in the morning and we get on our mats, we get on our cushions. We don't do it together, but like we each have we find a space, a quiet space in the home. We kind of each have like a designated area where we do it. We go and we do it, and then we're done. And it's kind of a non-negotiable. Not, let me clarify that, not non-negotiable as in I force it down my kid's throat. Not at all. Not at all. I don't check on them. I don't. It's on them. They just realize the benefits of it and they do it. But anyhow, it's just in my containers, the breath work is just the one of the foundational things that we do. I do it in my group containers, and I also do it in my one-on-one with my clients. It's how we start off most sessions. It's not something that I require, but people typically just ask for it. That's how they want to start the session. Now, why? Because breathwork is a hack. It's like literally a hack. It is the quickest way to shift your consciousness, right? And to really step into your power, to ground, to step into your power, to shift your consciousness, to be able to focus, to be present, right? The breath, I say the breath is like, the breath is the string in a kite analogy, right? The breath is the string and the mind is the kite, right? So you can't use the mind to control the mind, but you can use the string to control the kite. You can use the breath to control the mind, to bring it into the present moment. It really helps you focus. Okay. So the reason that I'm doing the container, one of the first reasons why I'm doing the container for 2 months is for women to really create a life practice, because I have some of my clients, it's really amazing. They take to it like a fish to water, where they just, from the first session, they just learn it. They're humbled by it. They feel reverence for it. They just they recognize the value of it, and they just start doing it, and they do it every day. And a quick side note, if you don't know my story, traditionally in the Vedic tradition, breathwork practice, meditation practices, they are assigned, they are taught as a 20-minute practice. But during the pandemic, I sat down to meditate, and every day when I sat down to meditate, I wasn't expecting this, but the same message kept coming through, like I would hear it. So I am a more claircognizant than clairaudient. So from like, in terms of my psychic abilities, out of all the clairs, my claircognizance is my strongest psychic ability. So it felt more like a knowing, but there definitely was like a clairaudient component to it. So it's like I knew it. It just kept dropping in, like this clear knowing, but there was also this clairaudient component to it, where it's like I could hear it. And the message was the same every single day. It was teach women, focus on women, focus on moms, create a shorter breathwork and meditation practice for them. And I would hear this message over and over again every single day. And I was not accustomed to hearing and like having clear cognizant messages channel through to drop in. So it really kind of caught me off guard. But at the time I was consulting, and I had um, a very successful multiple 7-figure consulting practice. So there is no way, there's no way, believe me when I say there's no way that I would have thought this up to like close all of that down and to start teaching people breath work and meditation. It just wasn't on the radar. And bless my husband for being cool with it. Like, Carlo's really a remarkable man, for being cool with that, for being game for that, for me to shut down that practice, which had really been responsible for so much financial independence and freedom in our life, and to do this instead. But he's also like a former breathwork and meditation teacher, and recognizes the value of this. Like, just the other day, he actually said to me, he's like, babe, you're doing it. Like, I had just come back from, it was like a semi-private, it was a private breathwork and meditation teacher, of a mom and daughter, which is so beautiful. I taught the two of them together, and I came back, and he's like, you're like I taught it to them in their private residence, and he's like, you're doing it, like you're actually doing it. And it's funny because my response was actually, well, I've actually been doing it for a few years now. like in my private practice, but sometimes, and that's the other thing that I will tell you, like when you're talking about purpose and starting a business, businesses typically start off pretty slow. And you have to continue to be brave and to continue to hold the vision, and really connect to your big why, because you will see it and you have to not give up even when other people perhaps cannot see the vision that you have. Okay. So anyhow, so what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to have this 2-month container. It is going to open next, so on Monday. So I'm recording this on Tuesday, April 23rd, and it will open for enrollment. If you're on my wait list, it will open to you, I think the night before is how we have it scheduled with my VA. I think you'll receive either Saturday or I think it's on Sunday. You'll get an email if you're on the wait list, or if you're part of my email list. It's kind of like my inner circle, not to make it doesn't mean to be exclusive in any way. It's just and if you're not on my mailing list and you would like to get on it, then just message me. You can DM me or just go on my website and sign up. There is a contact form, so you can just fill out your info in there right on the front page, or sign up for either one of my free programs. You'll get a free program, or sign up for both free programs if you want. Any of that will get you onto my mailing list. Those are amazing programs as well. They're packed like so full of value. It's the Sacred Space program and also the Introduction to Breathwork and Guided Meditation. Those are like beautiful, beautiful programs. Two completely different programs. Okay, so it's a 2-month program. So the first part will be this like breath work and meditation. And it really, what it will do is it will anchor you, it will give you a life practice. So even if you have taken my Stepping into Your Power program, even if you've taken my Going Deeper program, this is different. Yes, we will be doing breath work, but in this program, what will happen is if you've been struggling with it, if you've been struggling in being regular with it, which is completely normal, like I do it every single day. There's rarely a day. I don't typically miss a day. It has to be kind of a big thing for me to miss a day. But there were periods in my life. So I've been doing it since 2000. So I've been doing it for 23, 24. This is my 24th year, 25th year. I don't even know doing it. But there were periods in my life where I remember when my babies were like really, really little, and my babies, they do not like to sleep through the night. It was really tough to like wake up and to do the program. So there were periods where I would miss it for a few weeks, a few months even, and I was a teacher at the time. So if I missed it, there's really, not that it even needs to be said, because there's like zero shame in any of my containers. I'm here to like empower and support you in whatever you need. But there were periods that I missed it, and I know that a lot of women miss it. And that's actually the reason why, when I was guided to create a shorter breathwork and meditation practice, it completely resonated. The reason it resonated is because here's a fun fact. Okay, so I don't have like a lot of, but I do actually have quite a few close girlfriends. And for me, the way that I just have so many soul sisters, right? And some of my clients become like, I love my clients deeply and dearly. My clients become my soul sisters, but then vice versa. Like literally, I don't know why this is. I guess maybe because this knowledge is just so close to my heart and I can't stop talking about it. But because it's done so much for me, honestly. But the majority, I'm trying to think, like honestly, the majority of my girlfriends have studied under me or under a different teacher learning these practices. I would tell them about it. I was passionate about it, and they would go and learn it, right? So the majority of my girlfriends have taken it. And the feedback that I would get from them is they felt really discouraged because the program, it was like a multi-day program. And I teach it as like a multi-week program. But before I started my own Thrives business to teach it, and I was teaching for this non-for-profit organization that had its origins in India, we would teach it over, I think it would be like 4 days, 4 to 5 days. I think it was like a Thursday to a Monday. And all of my girlfriends had like the most, and Carlos' friends too, his friends, like guy friends, they would go and take it. And even his brother, like my mom, my sister, transformational, life-changing experience. Like it's an energetic portal. It shifts things for you. Like it does. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that people would find it so completely transformational, but then the take-home homework was go and do this for 40 days. And it was a 20-minute practice. And that's where people would fail. And they would be frustrated and they would share that with me. So when I was guided to create a shorter 5 to 8 minute breathwork and meditation practice, it just completely made sense. And I have since, and I don't want to, I could keep going off on different tangents, but I have since found research that actually supports what I do. And I was so excited to, I'll have to share that in a different video, but I was so excited. Anyway, it's legit, it works. I've taught so many women now within the Thrives business, because I've been doing that since 2000. So I have so many testimonials that you can see on my website. Not all of them are there, but on my website and on my IG, you can see just how really it makes a difference. It's transformational. Okay. So anyhow, that's the breathwork and meditation part. We're really going to anchor that practice in. The intention is for it to become a life practice for you the way it is for me and the other women. But that's just a part of it. So the other part of the program, what we're going to do is, and I don't want to give it all away yet, because this is actually the pre-launch. I'm actually officially launching it on Monday, so I don't want to give too much away. So maybe, you know what, I won't talk about that piece. Okay, I'll leave you with this last piece. This is what I will say for now, and I'll do other videos later. But what I will say is that there is a cosmic event that's coming up. Okay. And I don't think you're going to find, like, if you were to go and Google it, you're not going to find anything on it. I don't think you are. It's through the Vedic tradition. There's so many other cosmic events, right? Like people are talking about, the eclipse that happened most recent, the eclipse that happened, and then earlier, and then, like Mercury retrograde and just other conjunctions. But people don't talk about this cosmic event. And I am going to talk about this cosmic event, and I'm going to share it with you on Monday when I launch my program. It's something that's going to be happening this summer. And I am going to use the energy of that, okay, and to teach my course in. Okay. And I am like so excited for it, because in the background, like not secretly, but kind of, that's what not just myself, but Carlo and a lot of other people who know how they use that every year to just really timeline shift into what it is that they want. And I actually treat that event as my new year. For me, I do not consider, it's not that I don't consider January 1st to be the new year. I do, but it just doesn't have that same energetic potency that this cosmic event does for me. So for me, that is my new start of the year. So every year leading up to this event, I began to get clear on what it is that I want for our family for the next year. And for me, that's what feels like the start of the year. So as I said, but this year, what I'm going to do differently is I'm taking on 12 women. That's what I feel I have the capacity to hold. 12 women that I feel I can serve, that are going to get, anyway, I don't want to say anymore. Okay, I'm going to leave you there. We're going to be working with that energy. I'm going to be working with 12 women in this container. I'll share more on Monday. If you are on my wait list, you will have an opportunity to register first, and there is an early bird pricing that's available to you as well. And then on Monday, I will open it up. So yeah, if you're on my wait list or on my email list, if you're not, get on it, DM me, email me, you know the ways to find me, or just find me via my website. So that's the first way. And then on Monday, it gets opened up to everybody else. And then we have an early bird pricing period that will give you $111 off. There will also be payment plans. There's always payment plans. So quickly, okay, like why do I charge for programs, right? It's this funny thing. It's like, why do I charge? First of all, it's like such an old conversation, but I'm just going to repeat it for anybody who it's their, maybe it's their first time in my world. Okay. Money is how we represent exchanges in this world, right? And it's how we value things in this world. So I need to price the program at a price point where people will show up and take the work seriously. Because when I have discounted the program, it's really kind of humbug, honestly, but I see the difference when I'm sitting as the teacher on this side and I see the women in the container. It's really unfortunate, but I see the difference between somebody who paid full price or got in on an early bird or did the payment plan versus, the rarely do I, but the few times that I have given it to somebody, right? Where I've given the program to them for free, they don't show up to all the sessions, or they don't do the homework, they don't value it. And the last thing that I want to do is to have you waste the opportunity, because it's like you don't have a second chance to make a first impression, right? I don't get a second chance with you to make a first impression. So I don't want to squander that opportunity. It's just not worth it for me. Okay, I'd rather that you just didn't sign up and then sign up when you're ready versus you coming into the container and not wanting to be there, because it's unfair to you, number one. Like, I don't want you to waste that opportunity. Like, when you come, I want you to come in a space to receive. This is why I also don't give people advice unless they ask for it, because it's just a waste of my breath, right? So I want you to be in a space where the knowledge will land for you. And I also don't, the other reason I don't do it is because I don't want to water down. I'm no longer willing to water down the container for the other people in the container. I want everybody who's showing up to show up in a space where we're all ready to do the work and have fun together and to manifest some serious things in our life and in the life of our family. So I'm like so excited. And can't wait to get off this video, because I'm actually going to start doing the pre-work for myself, because I need to get clear on what it is that I want to timeline shift and quantum leap into for the upcoming year. And I want to do the pre-work for myself so then I can use that process and create the shell for you to be able to do it for yourself. Okay. So now I promised that I would talk about Vastu. So let me talk about Vastu, because Vastu is really potent as well. So I remember years ago, I kept talking about Feng Shui to my spiritual teacher. Her name was Lucy. Excuse me. And every time I did, she's like, you should check out Vastu. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it took a few tries. And then I don't even think I listened to her, actually. I think that really the story was, it's really magical. But what happened was I went to the library and I was walking by these shelves and this book jumped out at me. And the book was not called Vastu. It's not that, oh, it said Vastu and I spotted it. It was just this book. And it just really like, have you ever had that experience where you're like at a bookstore or you're somewhere and just like, you're just so drawn to a book? That's actually how a lot of knowledge finds me. It's not necessarily the knowledge from the book, but it's like it starts this like thread or it's this like nudge from the universe saying, hey, you need to move in that direction. Anyhow, so I discovered this book and it was like a wink from the universe that like, or maybe like a little bit more of like a kick or something. Maybe not a kick, but anyway, a nudge that, hey, okay, let's go. And then I found another book. So, and then I just kind of went down that rabbit hole a little bit and I just started learning more about it and I started implementing it, implementing the science of Vastu in my life. And it works. It works. So what is Vastu? Let me just, I've got some notes that because I want to keep this short and kind of succinct. Okay. So Vastu comes from the Vedas. So if you don't know what the Vedas are these like sacred texts. And really what's interesting is that, the Vedas, like the way that I have been learning and studying knowledge from the Vedas since 2000, but the way that I would study the knowledge, like some of it, I would travel to, so I had a guru, I had a teacher, I had a spiritual teacher, and he is from India, and he was actually a student of Maharishi, who the Beatles studied with. And I would go and I would sit at his feet. Carla and I would go and sit at the feet of the guru, and we were really fortunate to be able to have an audience with him. This is before he got like super, super huge, and we were able to sit at his feet. And it's just really so humbling to think about that. And he would translate sacred Vedic texts from Sanskrit into English. And it's really amazing because that's how we learned a lot of knowledge. And that knowledge is just not accessible via Googling it or reading it in a book. And what's really crazy is when that book, the Vastu book, which was not called Vastu, when that one book jumped out at me, I opened it and I looked, and there were pictures of my guru at the time. He's no longer my guru, but that guru in the book. And the book is not written by him. It's not a book from the organization. It just so happens that the people writing the book, they were also students of him, like myself. And I was just blown away by that. Okay, because clearly that was a message. So I could say so much more about that, but anyhow, so I keep digressing into these cool stories for you. So anyhow, so Vastu comes from the Vedas. So Vedas are these sacred texts, and Vedas are the texts from which yoga comes, which meditation comes, Ayurveda comes. Okay, so what is the Ayurveda? Ayurveda is the sacred knowledge of health. All right, so according to the Vedas, right, we stay in good health when we live in a state of harmony with nature. That's the idea, okay, from the Vedas as far as our health is concerned. So both Ayurveda, okay, and Ayurveda is world's first science of health. That's what it's considered. And Vastu are concerned with maintaining good health, right? So Ayurveda is more concerned with the health part of it, right? So while Ayurveda focuses on the body, Vastu is still concerned with health and our health, but really what Vastu speaks to is it focuses on the environment that you live in and how to create an environment that will then best support you, your family, like your being, right? So it's really, you can see how it's very similar to Feng Shui. And as I said, Feng Shui actually came out of Vastu. And so Vastu is very interesting. Like it's definitely a directional science. like Feng Shui, but it's different because according to Vastu, like I'll share a couple of principles of Vastu. So Vastu talks about like where it, when you overlay a Vastu map on top of your um house, your home, your condo, it talks about directional science. So it talks about like where is the ideal place for a kitchen, where's the ideal place for a meditation room, where's the ideal place for a master bedroom, where is the ideal place for the children's room, guest room, where should your children's rooms not be, and what happens if they are in that area of the house. And it talks about directional science and talks about how the person whose bedroom is in a specific area of the house, how that person will end up ruling the roost, and how to counter that if that is the case and you cannot move bedrooms, things like that. So, or if you have or if you have like guests who tend to stay for too long, or if you have maybe like older kids who really should be moving on with their life, like where they should be positioned within the home. It's really quite interesting, right? The other thing that Vastu really values, the other thing that Vastu really values is having an open center, like that the center of your home should be opened, right? And um like one thing that I don't think Vastu talks about it, but it's kind of, I feel like it's something that I kind of like intuitively derived from it, is just really how sacred space is and how having space in your home is sacred, right? And you can check out more about that in my sacred space program, not about the Vastu, but just about the sacredness of space. Now, if you are interested in my Vastu program, it's a small program. It's potent, it's packed full of knowledge, information, and I trying to figure out the best way. So it is available for sale. I just have not created the actual sales page for it yet, like the offer page. But for now, you can DM me. Now, if you're watching and tell me, just message me Vastu, and then I'll send you the payment link and then give you access to that program. The reason it's not, the program's already finished. It's just that what I did was I taught it inside another big group container. And it's just most recently that I kind of split it off. And let me tell you why I split it off. I split it off because I am gifting it to every single person who signs up in the first week when my program that I'm launching, my 2-month group container, and I will reveal the name on Monday, but just trying to have some fun with it. But on Monday, when I launch that program for 1 week, if you sign up during the early bird, not only do you get the early bird pricing, but for the first week, you will get access to Vastu bonus. Okay, you will get that as a bonus. You'll have access to it right away, and you can start reading, learning, diving, applying it to your life and your home right away. And it's like, it's so amazing. It's something I use all the time, all the time. Okay. I use that hand in hand to manifest. Now, let's say that you are not ready to enroll in the 2-month group container because that is a bigger commitment. You can buy Vastu first and then use the credit from Vastu to apply it to the 2-month group container, as long as you do it before my 2-month group container starts, right? Like if you're watching this video a year from now, obviously that 2-month group container program I won't be running it live. I'm not sure whether I'll sell it as like a pre-recorded self-study later or not. Maybe, not sure, because I haven't even run the program yet. But anyhow, so Vastu's a bonus, and you can flip it and do it the other way, where you can buy Vastu first and during the enrollment period, apply it to the group program. So whatever feels like aligned for you, do it that way. I always want people to feel comfortable because I always want you to feel good. I never want someone to buy something that they well, I mean, there's no pressure's not even a word in this situation, right? But I would never want someone to buy something that did not resonate with them, and then feel like it was a waste, right? And so I want you to come and get what you feel resonates for you. Anyhow, enrollment for the 2-month group container starts on Monday. In the meantime, if you want Vastu, then just DM me. If you're watching this, on a replay later in a few weeks or months, then I think you'll be able to find the Vastu program right on my sacred programs page on my website. So you just go to www.thrives, THRIVS. There's no E, there's an S instead of an E. So THRIVS.com. Go to sacred programs, and Vastu should be one of the thumbnails under choose your medicine, right? All my programs are listed there, and you will see it there. And if you're not ready to purchase that, or if you're never, feel, ready to purchase any of my programs, no biggie. Check out one of my free programs instead. There's a beautiful meditation in the Introduction to Breathwork and Meditation program. I am in love with that meditation. I use it myself. It's just a beautiful way to just settle the nervous system and at the end of the day. So use that. That's my gift to you. No strings attached. I love you, and I wish you a beautiful evening. Aloha.